Hello everyone, it's April Garwood from Banana Moon Studio. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the front panel of my Stigler sweater. This is a sweater crocheted in worsted weight yarn. I don't have any more of the yarn that I actually made the sweater in, so I'm just using some worsted weight from my stash. The sweater was originally made in Barocco Remix, which you can find to purchase at the affiliate link in the description for this video. You're also going to need sizes J and K crochet hooks, or if your gauge doesn't match mine with these hooks, you may need to adjust. So we're going to start with the smaller hook and a slip knot, and we'll be starting with some post-stitch ribbing that goes at the bottom of both the front and back panels. So I will be demonstrating by making the extra small size. You'll want to use the numbers that go with the size you're making. You can find this free written crochet pattern on my website. The link is in the description for this video. You'll notice first all of these numbers in brackets. The number for the very smallest size is the first number outside the brackets, and all these numbers separated by commas, they go in size order. So this is extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. So you'll want to go through and maybe circle or highlight the numbers that go with the size you're making. I'll be making an extra small for this video. So I'm going to start by chaining 57. I finished chaining 57, so I'm going to double crochet in the third chain from my hook. That chain 2 that I'm skipping, it does not count as a stitch. I like to work in the bottom ridge loops of my chains, so I'll be skipping the chain here in front of my left thumb, and I'll be skipping this chain. I'm going to work into this one, so I'll turn it over, yarn over, and go under that bottom ridge loop and double crochet. And then I am going to double crochet in each chain that I've made. I've finished double crocheting across my foundation chain. So now for row 2, I'm going to turn. I am going to chain 2, and that chain 2 does not count as a stitch. It won't count as one in any place where there's a chain 2 at the beginning of the row. I will half double crochet in my first stitch, and then I will front post double crochet in the next stitch. So that's yarn over. I'll go around the post of the stitch this way, and that's, starting from the front, so front, back, front, and then I just work the double crochet as usual. And I'm going to alternate those 2 stitches all the way across. So now the stitch that I worked this post stitch around, the top of it is here. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go into the top of the next one and half double crochet. So I'll alternate those 2 stitches all the way across. So I'm ready to make my final stitch in this row. It's going to be a half double crochet right there at the end. You can see our ribbing is already taking shape. We'll turn, and now our next row will begin with a chain 2 and a half double crochet in the first stitch, and then a back post double crochet in the next stitch. So when we do a back post stitch, we start from the back, come around to the front, and again to the back. So you can see how it looks if I tip it this way, how it looks if I tip it this way. So we're still going around the post, but starting from the back. And again, we're still going to work that double crochet stitch just like we normally would. We're just going around the post instead of through the top. And then I'll alternate those 2 stitches all the way across. And there is my beginning chain 2 and my final stitch here. So I will half double crochet here. Then I'm going to turn my work, and at this point I'm going to repeat the last 2 rows so that I have a total of 5 rows of ribbing. So when I get to that point, we'll come back to this video and we'll work on what's next. I have finished the ribbing for the bottom edge of my front panel. So I'm ready to start the main body of the front panel. I'm going to start by changing to my larger hook size. I'm using a K or 6.5 millimeter. I will chain 1, and then in the very first stitch I'm going to put a single crochet and 2 double crochet stitches. That set of 3 stitches is 1 pattern repeat. So at the end of the instructions for each row, I give the number of pattern repeats completed in that row, and this group of stitches is 1 pattern repeat. Now I am going to skip 2 stitches, and here I will do the same thing again. Single crochet, 2 double crochet, and then my repeat that I'll be working all the way across is to skip 2 stitches, and then single crochet and 2 double crochet. I will be repeating that sequence all the way across this first row. I have 3 stitches left now at the end of this first row of the main body of the front panel. So I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and then in the final stitch, just 1 single crochet stitch. And then I will turn my work. And then I am just going to be repeating row 1. It's a little bit different because now I'm working on top of Sedge Stitch and not on top of ribbing, but it is the same pattern. So that's chain 1 in the first stitch, single crochet and 2 double crochet. And then I'm skipping these 2 double crochet stitches, and in the next single crochet is where my pattern repeat is going to go. 1 single and 2 doubles. So again, repeating row 1, and you'll see here in the pattern that you're going to be repeating row 1 for quite a while until you have finished many rows in Sedge Stitch. That is the we're working from the bottom of the sweater up to the armholes now with this portion. So I'm not going to work this many rows because I don't actually need to for the sake of this demonstration, but I'm going to work a few more rows in Sedge Stitch and then come back to this video, and we're going to start on the armhole shaping. I have finished crocheting a few rows in Sedge Stitch. If you are making the sweater, you're going to be doing quite a few more, but for purposes of this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and jump into the front armhole shaping so that we can get to the harder parts. We'll be looking, as we start the front armhole shaping, we want to be looking at the right side of our sweater, which is where we can see this ribbing. You can see the wrong side, it doesn't really look like ribbing. So we're going to start by slip stitching in the first 3 or 6 stitches, and that 3 or 6 depends on the size you're making. You'll want to get the free written pattern in order to know how many stitches apply to your size. So I am going to be slip stitching in the first 3. So I'm going to go right into this first stitch, slip stitch here, and in the next 2. And then I need to, my next stitch, I need to slip stitch, chain 1, and then single crochet and 2 double crochet all in that same place. So this is, I'm working a pattern repeat of Sedge Stitch here after taking out this first pattern repeat by slip stitching across it. So now I'll be working in Sedge Stitch most of the way across this row. All right, so in my regular repeat here, these 2 stitches will be skipped. So I'm not counting those here, but now I have the 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches remaining. And so I am going to, after skipping these two, single crochet here, and then I'm going to turn my work, leaving these stitches unworked. And then in the instructions, it has a portion here for sizes small to 5X only that has you work a number of decrease rows. And then the instructions for those decrease rows are given below. I think I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate those, even though they would not normally be used for the extra small size. But I want you to see what those decrease rows look like. So right now I'm looking at the wrong side. So I want to do the wrong side decrease row, and that looks like chain 1, skip the first stitch, and single crochet 2 together over these next two. So that looks like going into the stitch, pulling up a loop, going into the next stitch, pulling up a loop, and then yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. And then in this stitch, I'm going to begin my sedge stitch repeat. So that's single crochet, 2 double crochet, and then I am going to be skipping these 2 and repeating that series across until I have 4 stitches remaining. Now I have these 2 stitches are being skipped as part of my regular repeat, and then I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 stitches left. I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to single crochet, single crochet 2 together over these 2 stitches. So I'll go in and pull up a loop, and in and pull up a loop. Whoops, there we go. And then yarn over and pull through all 3. And then I'm going to turn my work without working in that final stitch. If I'm doing a right side decrease row, that's going to look like chain 1, skip my first stitch, and single crochet 2 together over these. And then I will single crochet and 2 double crochet in the next single crochet stitch. And skip 2 stitches and then be working across in sedge stitch until I get to the last 5 stitches. All right, so now what we have here is that these 2 stitches are skipped as part of our regular repeat, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches remaining. I'm going to, so I've already skipped these 2. I'm going to go ahead and skip this one, and then I'm going to single crochet 2 together over these 2. And then I'm going to leave these 2 stitches unworked and go ahead and turn. So that is, that shows you both the wrong and right side decrease rows that we need for the front armhole shaping. The number of decrease rows you will be working this way depends on your size. So again, you'll want to reference the free written pattern, but that part is right here. So you'll work the appropriate number of decrease rows according to these 2 instructions. And you can see I've made myself a few notes, things I need to correct. And then we have a number of pattern repeats for each size at that point. And then you'll be working a number of rows even in sedge stitch. So my extra small size that I'm making doesn't actually need any of these, which is why there's just an X here. I might change that out and put a 0. It's kind of difficult to describe in a way that people understand that issue. Anyhow, so after you work your decrease rows, you'll do this. I'm going to rip out the decrease rows I just showed you, and I'm going to work a few rows even in sedge stitch, and then I'm going to come back to this video and we'll start on shaping the front left shoulder. All right, so now we're at the point in the pattern where we're going to work on the front left shoulder. So we should be looking at the right side of our sweater. Again, we can see the ribbing. And we are going to chain 1, single crochet here, 2 double crochet, so just like our regular sedge stitch. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, then single crochet, 2 double crochet, and then we're going to repeat that a certain number of times, and then we're going to be stopping. So what we're working on now is actually we're working on shaping and leaving a neckline in the center. So I am going to repeat that so that I have 2 more pattern repeats. So, and the number here, whether it's 2, 3, or 4, you're going to need to reference the written pattern for your size. I am doing 2 more pattern repeats. And then I am going to skip 2 stitches, single crochet here, and then I am going to turn, leaving the remaining stitches unworked. And I'm going to look at my stitch count. I should have 4 pattern repeats. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then next I'm going to work 5 rows even in sedge stitch. So you already know how to do the sedge stitch, so I am going to work those 5 rows and then come back to this video and we will continue shaping the left shoulder. I've worked my 5 rows even in sedge stitch, and again I'm looking at the right side of my sweater for the left shoulder shaping. So the next step then is to chain 1, slip stitch in the first 5 stitches, and if you're making one of the larger sizes, that may be 8, you'll want to reference the written pattern for that. I'm going to slip stitch in the first 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I want to chain 1, single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. And then I want to put 2 double crochet stitches in the same stitch that I ended my decrease in. So the first leg of my decrease is here, the second one is here. I want to put 2 double crochet stitches in that same spot. And then I am going to skip 2 stitches here and put a single crochet and 2 double crochet here. And then if you're doing one of the larger sizes, you may need to do another pattern repeat. In this size, I will not be. At this point in the extra small, I will skip these 2 stitches and single crochet in the last one. And then I have 2 pattern repeats. I'm going to turn my work. I am going to chain 1 and single crochet, 2 double crochet in the first stitch. And then I will skip the next 2 stitches. For some of the larger sizes, I will be doing another pattern repeat here. For this smaller size, I am going to single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. and then I will be fastening off there. So you can see what we've accomplished here with the shaping. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit here. What we've accomplished here with our shaping is that now we have one side of a square neckline, and we have an armhole, and we have a sloped shoulder here. So then after I fasten off, we're going to come over here and we're going to mirror that on this side. Now we're ready. So I fastened off over here and we're ready to work on the front right shoulder. I'm gonna zoom back down a little bit. All right, so again, right side facing where we can see our ribbing. We are going to skip 8 pattern repeats across the last row of the front panel. So that's here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I want to end the single crochet of the last skipped pattern repeat. So that's going to be right here. I am going to join with a slip stitch. Pull my tail to tighten that so it's not loose. And then chain 1 and single crochet and 2 double crochet, just like our regular sedge stitch. And then I am going to skip 2 stitches and again a regular sedge stitch pattern repeat. And I'm going to repeat that across until I get to my final 3 stitches. And then when I have 3 stitches left, I will skip the next 2 and single crochet in the last. So basically I just worked a row even in sedge stitch. And then I am going to turn and I'm going to work 5 rows even in sedge stitch. And after I have accomplished that, I'll come back to this video and we will do our right shoulder shaping. I have finished my 5 rows even in sedge stitch, and so now I'm going to turn my work. We're going to be on the right side as we start shaping the front right shoulder. So I'm going to start with chain 1 and single crochet, 2 double crochet in the first stitch. And then I am going to skip 2 stitches and again working in sedge stitch here, single crochet, 2 double crochet. And I'm going to repeat that either 0 times or 1 time depending on size. Reference the written pattern for that number. For this size, I won't be repeating that. So now I'm going to skip 2 stitches and then I'm going to single crochet 2 together over the next 2. And then I am going to turn, leaving remaining stitches unworked. For the final row, I will chain 1, skip the first stitch, single crochet 2 together over the next 2. And then in the next stitch, I will single crochet, 2 double crochet, and then I am going to skip 2 stitches. For some of the sizes, you'll do another pattern repeat here, but I will not for this size. I'm just going to single crochet in the last stitch. And that finishes it, so I'll fasten off there. So that demonstrates how we shape the neckline, armhole, and shoulder for the front panel. The shaping for the back panel is very similar, so probably once you've got this down, you won't need much help for the back piece. I did make myself a couple notes of small tweaks that I need to make in the written pattern. It is correct as it is, but I could probably make a few subtle improvements on the wording, and I'm going to do that. Anyway, so that finishes everything you need to know in order to make the front panel and probably the back panel of my Stigler sweater. You'll find the free written pattern at the link in the description for this video. You will also find a tutorial for the sleeve on my YouTube channel. I'll link that in the description. And there's also a tutorial for seaming the sweater. That will also be linked in the description so that you can have everything you need to know in order to crochet Stigler sweater. I hope that's helpful to you and that you have a lovely day.